So let's start with the demo of asset management. So basically, as you can see, we are in the asset management module of the Odoo. So when we enter the dashboard, we see a dashboard. Using this dashboard, we can check the current value of all the assets. We can check the purchase cost of all the assets. We can check net book value of all the assets, and here we can see the total depreciation of the assets. So basically, this is where we can see everything in one single dashboard. We can see total number of vendors, total number of transfers, maintenance cost, and depreciation of assets specifically for this month. You can also see any alerts or warnings regarding assets. You can also see the utilization rate of each and every asset here in the single dashboard. You can also see the asset status distribution. Here you can see all your inventory, whether it is assigned, whether it is in warehouse, whether it is on hold, whether it is in repair, or whether it is returned or disposed. So here are top asset categories. These categories you can configure using this configuration. Then these are recent transfers. All the recent transfers can be seen through this one single dashboard. You can also see asset locations where your asset is specifically located. Yes, this is everything you can see in this single dashboard. Yes, so now let's understand the vendors. So basically, these are vendors who provide us assets. So each and every company have has a list of few vendors via which they buy some products or any of the assets for the company. So for this, I'll type Infotech Private Limited. So you can add the address. You can add the primary contact here. Contact phone you can add here. Then you can add the email. You can add the service area as well. You can add their website. You can also select whether it gives repair services and maintenance services. And after this, you can just save this and again go back in vendors. A new vendor will be created. This is how you can create vendors. Yeah, so now let's move on to assets. So in assets, this is where you can manage all your assets. All the company assets are available here. Once you enter this assets, you can just click new. Then you can enter the name of the asset. So for me, it will be MacBook Neo. So I'll enter the serial number of the MacBook Neo. Then the barcode which is present on the MacBook Neo, I'll enter it. Then the asset type. These types we can configure via using configuration. So here for me it will be computers and IT. So the condition is new and the tag I'll be using will be laptop. So basically this one product, if this one product is going to come in batches, you can also select multiple assets. So you can add as many as MacBook Neo will be coming into the company as assets. You can add the number of MacBook Neo here. So for me, currently it will be single asset. So the purchase price will be 70,000. Yes. So you can also select the associated invoice. So I'll just put the invoice number here. Then again the invoice date can be selected as well. Yes, so you can also change the depreciation settings here. So the depreciation, I'll just enable the depreciation. So using this enable depreciation, you can also track the depreciation value for each month of your specific asset. So here you can add the maintenance information. So you can just add the total maintenance cost here. Then you can, this one is important. So vendor and warranty. So this is the warranty period here. So here for me it is no warranty, and here I can select the associated vendor. So the vendor which we have created, which is Infotech Private Limited, you can select it here, and then we will be able to see this MacBook Neo under the vendor Infotech Private Limited. So you can select the assignment and location. So I'll assign it to my department administration, and responsible person will also be administration, and current location will be Pune. Yes. So once I've added every information here, I'll just click save. So everything will be saved here. Then I can just transfer it to a specific employee here. So for me it will be Sudhanshu. So I'll assign it to Sudhanshu on third. From location Norway to the location of, so the return date will be August 30. Yes, so this is how I have created a asset and transferred it to a employee. You can also select maintenance and repair here. You can also select a vendor here. The vendors that are already present, you can also select that, like office supplies plus will provide us the maintenance and repair. You can also select the depreciation amount of that asset. So basically you can manage complete life cycle of the asset. So you can assign it to return on hold, in warehouse, repair and destroy. So basically for me now it is on hold. This is how we can manage the complete asset life cycle using asset management. So as we now know how we can create vendors and we can track all the assets, all the asset life cycle, as we know how to do it, you can see this is the current asset that we created, Sudanshu. Purchase price will be, each and every asset will be assigned a number based on which you can search it. So once you click on this, you will get all the information. As we have created MacBook Neo previously, you can see it in here. Then we can track it using these assets, and you can see it. This is on hold, which will which was purchased on July 2 and will be assigned on July 3. Yes. So this is how you can track each and everything. So let's move on to the depreciation. So depreciation is basically the monthly depreciation rate or yearly depreciation rate of that asset. So you can just create a new depreciation. You can just add the depreciation rate for a specific asset. So here we'll just search and add the MacBook Neo asset. So it automatically fetch the asset type. So and also the additional info is it fetched on its own. So the depreciation amount I'll enter here will be uh, 20,000. So basically it will be the depreciation rate after a year or a month. Then depreciation date will be the next year. So we bought the asset on 1st July. So the depreciation rate will be on 1st July after a year. So this is how you can just save the depreciation rate here. Now once you go in depreciation, you will see the depreciation rate here. Here you can see this depreciation rate, and this will also instantly reflect in your dashboard as well. So the depreciation this month has increased from 26,999. So this is basically how you can set a depreciation rate and a depreciation amount for your asset. Now let's move on to the configuration part. So here in configuration you can configure the types, the tags and the location of the asset. So once we'll enter the types, you can see here. As previously I have shown you, while creating an asset, we can select the type of asset. So here a list open up. Here we can see a drop down. So you can just configure it through this configuration and types. So here you can create a new type of asset. So for me it will be desks. You can also select a color index. Then these are some required fields that are need to be filled. So once we save it, you can just see this desks in our types while creating an asset. So whenever we create a new asset, you can just see this desks. So you can select this. Now we can also customize the tags. These were all the tags. So for me, I'll create a new tag that will be desk. Select the specific color for it. Once we select the color, we just click save. Then we have selected this configuration in tags. So when we create the asset, click new asset. Here you can just select the tag of desk, creating an asset type that is desk. Yes. So you can configure types, tags. Now we'll move on to locations. So these were the locations that I created previously while creating our MacBook Neo asset. So now we will create a new location that will be the United Kingdom. Yes. So parent location and stock location also we can select. So once I'll enter this, just save it. Then when we create an asset, we have that location previously. While we transfer any asset, you have the locations here. So I'll select United Kingdom. So this is how you can configure your types, tags and locations. These are asset types, these are asset tags, and these are transfer locations that you can add. You can add any locations where you have your company located and where you are moving your stock or any of the asset of the company. Each and everything will be visible in this dashboard as we have done changes to this previously. You can see all the changes here. the changes in the current value, purchase cost, net book value, the total depreciation we added. Now it has been changed to 33,506. So the depreciation this month was previously updated when we added the depreciation amount. Then, as we have created a computer and IT asset, you can see it here. We also have the desk assets, as we have created two assets that are auto saved. So this is how you can manage all your assets via this single dashboard using our asset management system. If you have any other doubt, you can just contact us on WhatsApp. We are connected to you via WhatsApp. So if there are any doubts, just ask for our support and we'll provide it to you. Thank you.